What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Labcast. My name is Vinny in the Lab, and this is my co-host Rynot916 on YouTube and Rynot926 on Twitch. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, but we're really excited to come back with our 9th episode for a really special episode. So we just had Pokemon Day, was yesterday as of us recording it, and and the day before was the Pokemon Presents, and there is a lot to talk about. And we just mentioned, but we didn't really even have a chance to talk to each other really about this yet. So this is going to be good. I think first we should talk about what our expectations were going into this.
Sure. So I think most people expected Sinnoh. It fits the timeline in terms of like the remake schedule and like going from like main series to remake. Sinnoh fit the timeline for the next main series game in 2021. So that I think the majority of people were thinking that that's what we were going to get. The Pokemon Company threw a huge curveball at us when they were doing the countdown to Pokemon Day, and they were posting all the different generations. And then when they got to Sinnoh, they opened up the tweet with "Let's go Sinnoh," and the internet completely lost its mind. Everybody was expecting that we were now going to suddenly get Gen 4 remakes, but in the Let's Go style, and there was a bunch of people that were excited because they liked Let's Go, and there was a larger group of people that were freaking out because like they weren't a fan of Let's Go, and you know it was a huge thing. It's like super smart marketing on their side, so I 100% commend them for doing that.
Brilliant.
But I don't think anybody could have expected what we actually did end up getting in terms of the Gen 4 remakes, and then what they also are doing with Sinnoh. Like, completely caught me by surprise.
It's insane. So for my predictions, I also expected a Gen 4 remake. I think most people did, except for the people who were erring on the side of like, let's not get our hopes up, we don't want to be disappointed, stuff like that. But I definitely expected Gen 4 remakes. It was just, like you said, it was time. Also, with the 25th anniversary, it's just the time to do it. You know, it's the right amount of time. And there was 2 anniversaries for Gen 4 going on at the same time. I think it was the 15th anniversary since Gen 4 came out, and the 25th anniversary since Pokemon. So
I don't think it was exactly 15 years because it was 2007, I believe.
2007 US, 2006 Japan.
Okay, yes, yeah, right. Yeah. I always forget that the years are a little bit different.
Yeah, there was a 6-month delay. That's why we always used to get our Pokemon releases in April, because they would get theirs in November, and 6 months later it would be ported to the US and UK.
That's right.
I actually think the UK even got it later than we did. But yeah, so I also thought we would get like a Gen 3 virtual console. I thought we would get a Pokemon Day release of that. We didn't end up getting that, which is unfortunate, but it's okay. Maybe they'll still, give us some surprises throughout the year. And yeah, I was expecting, stuff that I didn't really want to see necessarily, like Unite news. And then I was expecting them to just give us something weird, which I guess that kind of happened. But yeah, so
but it was a good weird.
A good weird, like the best weird. So if you're watching this, you've already seen the news. We have gotten, so it started off with Pokemon Snap, like a little bit of an update, giving us a little more information. And I am a huge Snap fan, so I'm stoked. I'm so excited. I think it looks incredible. I have a little theory going on that I think the Illumina berries could trigger a Pokemon becoming shiny, and that would be really, really fun and cool. Because we saw that whole thing where the Illumina berry was thrown at Scorbunny and its flames became blue. So I'm thinking, why not have the Pokemon change color in certain rare cases of throwing an Illumina berry? That's just like a hope. I don't really think it's going to happen, but it would be really cool if it did. But even though I love Snap so much, I think Pokemon Snap is probably my favorite Pokemon game of all time. Not saying something, being that Black and White and Heart Gold, Soul Silver are just masterpieces. It was just blown out of the water by the other 2 announcements. And I'll just be perfectly honest, when we first saw the remakes, which are called Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I was a little unsure when I first saw the first very chibi Dawn. Like when they first zoomed out, I was like, oh, I don't know about this, because I thought they were doing Let's Go, but even more cartoony. Like almost like Lego Let's Go, And then when they really broke it down and they showed that it's like a 1-to-1 scale replica of Sinnoh, like it's perfectly preserved, I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is just awesome. You get all the charm of the original games, and then when you go into battle, it's like a modern Pokemon game. It's just like such a melding of like of I think everything that I like about Pokemon. Except obviously we don't have the overworld aspect of like overworld shinies, but I think we might have that that little itch fixed in the next year. But what was your initial reaction?
So I think I had a very similar initial reaction to
Yeah.
you when they first showed Dawn. My heart was kind of like, I like this, but if it's Let's Go, people are going to be upset about it.
Yeah.
And as they kept showing Sinnoh, and I was like, before they showed like the first wild encounter with Shinx, I was thinking like, this does look very Let's Go-esque. But then when they cut to like Route 202 or whatever it is, and you have the male character model running through the grass and encountering a Shinx, I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not Let's Go. And I think it's really, really cool that we're going back to a Pokemon game where we don't have overworld spawns. We've been basically spoiled with overworld spawns for the past 4 years. So we're now going back to a game where we're going to have like a million Zubat encounters in caves. So we got to deal with that again. But in a weird way, I am kind of excited for it because for the past 4 years, there hasn't been that potential excitement of random shinies in my playthrough. Because everything's been overworld.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to encounter the Pokemon, you
just
can
don't.
just avoid them.
Yeah. And I think
So
that's...
I'm excited for that potential again.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. There was a real chance of overworld shinies in Let's Go. Of like randoms. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I had gotten an overworld random shiny during a sleep lock, which was pretty cool. And then I also got an overworld random shiny during a sleep lock. Obviously, you couldn't see the sparkles overworld in Shield, but it was only because part of one of the incentives in my sleep lock was to be hunting in that spot. So, mm-hmm. like, because I had to spend an extended amount of time in that spot is the only reason I saw that shiny. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'm most excited about the grid-based grass again. And because that might mean we're getting Radar back.
Now, I seriously think Radar is coming back because the amount of times that they kept referring to it as faithful remakes means, to me at least, that it's basically the exact same game that we had on the DS, just enhanced, merge a couple features that were in Platinum, merge those features into Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and those are our remakes.
I have to agree here. I think that what they're going to do is very Let's Go-esque, where they're being very faithful to the original, with adding a few little nuances of the newer game. So I think we're going to still have the full party EXP share. Maybe it'll be toggleable, maybe it won't. That doesn't really bother me one way or another. I do think we're going to see some Pokemon that were not in the original Diamond and Pearl games, but not a whole lot of them, kind of like we saw the Alolans in Let's Go.
Hopefully more fire types.
Yeah, hopefully more fire types is right. Yeah, I think that they're going to do a good job. I'm excited but nervous. It is a different company. It's Ilka Incorporated is the ones making Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. They're the people who made Pokemon Home. Now, Pokemon Home is a great product. I really enjoy it. I've never had an issue with it, but it's not a game. So I looked into it, and they do actually have an extensive past in making games. I don't know these games off the top of my head. I'm not really very, very versed in different games, but the big ones that people seem to be excited that they had made were Nier Automata and Naruto Shippuden 4 Ninja Storm. Were like the two ones that people seem to be very excited that they had made in my chat. So they have a history of making games that are fan hits. So that's exciting. I don't personally know the games. I think they're pretty different styles from what this is, but they have the know-how. So that's a good thing in my opinion. What worries me is that I don't know how they're going to handle shinies, shiny odds, shiny sparkles, anything relating to shinies that are a little more underground, not obviously apparent. Masuda did work on this game with them. He was one of the lead directors, so there is the real direct Pokemon influence in it, but there is still some stuff up in the air and some stuff that I'm a little worried about. I'm scared with both of the releases that we might not get shinies in the way that we're hoping. Because there is just this, it's so unknown. We've never had games like this before. That's what's so interesting about this, is that, well, I mean, at the same time, we did have a game just like this, right? But at the same time, we've never gone backwards like this. So I don't know. It's exciting. It's nerve-wracking. I'm very excited to play them. We haven't even gotten to the second one yet.
Yeah, the thing though is that because Masuda is directly working with ILCA on these remakes, there is still that Game Freak influence, and additionally,
the most important Game Freak influence, I would say.
I would agree. Additionally, whenever a company gets a like the rights or the permission to make a game that is like not their own IP, they have to work very closely with the owner of that IP. So they have the direct influence from Masuda because he is a producer on this project. But that being said, ILCA still basically has to, almost in a way, run everything by Game Freak and get Game Freak's basically their approval in order to make any changes or do anything that they really want to do with the franchise. So if Game Freak comes back and says, hey, like, you know, what are you doing with shinies, for example? And if they were to say, oh, we were just going to skip shinies and not have them in the game, that's where Game Freak would have to step in and be like, no, you know, we need to have this feature because it's a core feature of the Pokemon game.
Yeah, so that would be nerve-wracking alone if they wanted to skip them and then were forced into it, because then it might not get the care that it needs.
Exactly. But I'm not concerned. I think that they are. I think that they are going to implement shinies. And one of the things actually about Pokemon Home that makes me like rest easy on this is that there's a way in Pokemon Home to filter out only your shiny Pokemon.
Yeah, that's true. So they're aware of what shiny Pokemon are. At least we know that going into the project. And it is Masuda, the person who gave us the first shiny method, working with them directly. So I'm not overly worried about it, but I'm really interested to see how they're going to handle it. I wonder if we're going to get a modern version of a Gen 4 Sparkle. That's such an interesting idea.
I never even considered that. The Gen 4 Sparkle is so good.
I think it's my third favorite Sparkle, but because I really like Gen 5 and 6 because they're the two-part Sparkles. I really like the second sound effect coming in to like finalize it. I don't know. It's just my aesthetic. But it's a very good Sparkle. As long as it doesn't look like Gen 7 Sparkle, I'll be happy.
Yeah, just not a big freaking ugly star covering the Pokemon.
It's a stamp.
Yeah.
There's so much that they could do with this game. I'm really excited for it. And it's only like 10 to 10 and a half months away at the most.
At the most.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. 8 to 8.5 months away. So, yeah. That's even better. It just got 2 months closer in a matter of a second.
There you go.
And now, the big news. So we thought that was the big news. Dude,
yeah, we had
crazy.
No idea what we were in for.
We had no idea. You want to talk about exceeding expectations? This is... First of all, I want to say that, like, aside from, like, their little Pokemon Day events, they only talked about stuff that I am really interested in and really excited for, which has never happened before. There's normally, like, little things. They're talking about other games and other, like, things that I just don't care about, like, to be perfectly honest. But I was, like, hooked on this Direct from the first second. I don't even think I mocked it. And you know me, that's what I do. But, like, so, yeah, if you guys haven't seen yet, I would say, honestly, pause this video, go watch the Direct, and come back so that you can understand our hype and what we're about to talk about. So, the next thing they announced was Pokemon Legends Rcs, which is exciting for a lot of reasons. One, this is a game made by Game Freak, so I'm really excited to see Game Freak pushing the envelope more and really going outside of what Pokemon was, and even deferring that to a different company now. Like, okay, you guys can handle what you know Pokemon is, and we're going to handle what Pokemon's going to be.
New.
Yeah, very,
so
very
cool.
Exciting. And if you haven't seen it and didn't heed my advice to go watch the trailer first, it is an open world, Breath of the Wild inspired Pokemon. I'm going to say RPG, because I think they said action RPG.
Yeah. Yeah, that
the fact
action
that that's
RPG
real
does sound familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that this is real and not like a fan game that I'm excited about, it's almost like Breath of the Wild graphics on Pixelmon is kind of what it feels like. I am so excited about this. I need to like sleep for a year. Like it's just, oh man. So what was how did you feel when you first saw them cut to this like this opening shot of what was just immediately apparently an open world game?
I was just like my initial reaction was like, is this still the Pokemon Presents? Like, did YouTube cut to something else for me? Because I didn't get to watch it live.
Yeah, you were in a meeting, I know.
I had a meeting at work at 10 a.m. at the exact time that the Pokemon Presents started. So I had to watch it after the fact.
Probably your least focused meeting ever.
I know, it was. But then I was just so surprised when they showed characters that are very like Dawn and Lucas inspired.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking just like what on earth is this? And then it just cuts to like, you know, you diving through grass and then throwing a Pokeball at an overworld Shinx.
Oh my god, dude.
Without prompting any UI. It's like what is this?
It looks like everything we've dreamed about in a Pokemon game ever. The only thing that it's a little short on, and I don't actually have a problem with this because I don't think it would be handled great, is that it's not an MMO. It is a single player game. According to Joe Merrick, at least. I'm not sure where he got the information from, but I trust Joe Merrick.
There was a I don't remember exactly where this came from. This may have been what Joe Merrick posted, but there's like an official like information document about the Sinnoh remakes, like Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Okay.
And the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl list, it basically lists that it's multiplayer compatible, so indicating that there isn't online.
Oh, nice.
And it shows like it's like 2 to 4 players or something along those lines. But then for Pokemon Legends Arceus, it only shows. It doesn't say anything about online. It's 1 player only.
Okay.
So it doesn't look like it's going to have any sort of multiplayer connectivity, which also then does not look like you'll be able to connect and battle your friends within that game. Yeah. But I am okay with that because that's not what this game is about.
No, it's not. And that's why we're getting Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, is because that's going to fulfill all of the regular Pokemon needs. It's going to have our battles. It's going to have the normal playthrough with the story. I am so excited. I thought about this last night, and it just popped into my head, and I was like, we're going to have quests. It's going to be like, go and catch 5 Bidoof, and like, come back to me. Dude, I am so excited for this. Like, I honestly, if they pull this off, I cannot see me playing anything else until there's another one. Like, or another main series Pokemon game. Yeah. It looks like it has so much potential. Think about just the idea of, like, bosses. Like, Legends popping out of nowhere, out of a rift in space. Oh my god, dude, it's just so exciting.
I was talking to somebody about this, and so, like, they show in the trailer, you have a Gallade and you're fighting against a Garchomp. And so I was thinking, because like the entire premise of the game is like you are tasked by basically like the OG Sinnoh professor to go out and basically not just fill the Pokedex, but to create the first Pokedex. So and if you looked carefully at the Pokeballs in the initial shot, they looked to be made out of wood.
They look so cool with the latch.
Yeah.
I need a replica. I need it now.
I'm excited for the potential of this original Pokedex to be like an actual physical, like, encyclopedia book, and not like anything like technology based.
Yeah, it's interesting because there is that like very futuristic underlying technology of Pokemon that like really we don't even talk about, but like it's crazy technology they have.
Exactly. And like we had that all the way back in Red and Blue.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just think that it's really, really cool. And so what I think that they're gonna potentially do with some of the stronger Pokemon, like the Garchomp that we saw in the trailer, and then potential Legends, is that you are going to encounter them within the world, and they are basically going to be like the boss Pokemon, and you can't you know, like when you go to throw a Pokeball at it, it's I'm excited for the potential of what happened back in the very original games. Like, remember if you encountered an Onyx in Mount Moon and you went to throw a Pokeball at it, the Pokeball would just break and it didn't even capture the Pokemon and start to wiggle because like the Pokemon was too strong.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
I'm excited for that potential again, and so that you have to like battle these stronger Pokemon to get them into a weakened state so that you can throw a Pokeball at them in order to capture them and then take them back to the lab and register their data. Like, I just think it like you said, if they pull this off, it's going to probably be like the best Pokemon game that Game Freak has ever come up with.
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, and I'm excited that they're starting out with Sinnoh.
Yeah, it's an interesting starting point.
But if they eventually go and do other regions, if they give us Ancient Unova, pre-Reshiram Zekrom like snapping and whatnot, like I'm just so excited for the potential
I would actually
this series brings.
Yeah, I would actually be excited for Ancient Galar during like the whole original Eternatus thing with the Gigantamax Pokemon running rampant. That would be so cool. I know we don't need Galar right now. Yeah, but this idea, it's just very exciting. It's so new and it's so unexpected. Like, no one expected that except for maybe somebody who had inside information. But anybody who just came up with something on their own, there was no one who really knows Pokemon who was like, oh yeah, we're totally going to get, a very Breath of the Wild inspired Pokemon game. It's going to have the same art style. It's going to have that bloom that everybody loves. And you're just going to be able to run around and sneak through grass and throw Pokeballs, and there's going to be Arceus, and nobody thought this was possible. The fact that Arceus is a key player in this game is so exciting. Because he's been brushed over, except for movies, for all of Pokemon.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is, like, we still don't even really know what role Arceus is playing in this game. Like, they cut to a shot of Arceus at the end, and the game is titled Legends Arceus, but, like, that's it. That's all
and then they're like, Arceus will be spoken about more in the future. We're like, no, like, tell us now. And then, there's the elephant in the room of shinies.
Yes.
If there are shinies in this game, which I can't imagine there not being because this is a Game Freak game.
Yeah.
They have to be overworld.
They have to be.
They have to be. There's no encounters.
There's no encounters. It would not make sense for you to throw a Pokeball at a blue Shinx, take it back to the lab, and it pops out of the ball and suddenly it's gold. That would make no sense.
I would be very upset if they decided to do that. But I think they're going to do overworld encounters. I feel like that's the only logical thing to do. It's not even that much more work, realistically.
They've
done it before. Yeah, they've done it before. Like, it's not that hard. Think about, not just a shiny, but think about just standing on the top of a hill, and all of a sudden, like, a Steelix comes out of the ground, like, a mile away from you. And you, this is another thing that I'm excited for the possibility of, hop on your Pidgeot or something and fly there.
Yeah.
To go battle that Steelix, which is like maybe like a local area boss that you have to fight. And honestly, the little animation we saw from that Lucario in the battle, that animation looked amazing. That like red glow as it did like the uppercut or whatever it did. It looked great.
Like, it's just super cool. And I like, we shouldn't have to say this, but I'm just gonna say it anyways. These games are nowhere near finished.
Not even close.
So the amount of people that I have already seen criticizing the art style and the graphics on Twitter and like comparing other Switch titles to it, it's like, just stop.
This is something that really annoys me.
The games are not finished. The area that they showed us in the trailer would have been heavily focused on for trailer purposes. Yeah. I guarantee you the other half of that world right now is grass, maybe a tree or two, and nothing more.
Yeah, wireframe. And like free Unreal Engine graphics that they just pasted on until they could fix it.
Exactly.
So many people don't know what goes into making a game. I know a little bit. You know much more extensively than I do. And it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a process that ends like the day it ships, and then not even in today's day and age. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it
Like
keeps
the whole
going.
thing of like day one patches and
Yeah.
like the submission process behind, having to submit your game to Nintendo. Like it's not just you don't just, have a release date of, let's just say for example, like April 1st. You don't just, submit it to Nintendo the day before and be like, all right, cool, we're done, move on to the next project. Like that's not
No,
how things
definitely
work.
not.
Especially like when there's physical versions of the game, you have to get this stuff submitted, like sometimes up to 2 months before your scheduled launch date, so that you
Wow.
can get all of the physical manufacturing done, product shipped to retailers so that they have it ready to go on the release date. The game basically has to be done and ready to go a couple months beforehand, which is why we live in this day and age of day one patches.
Yeah, that makes
Because
sense.
if you're not ready, if the game is basically like 99% done, or it is done, but there's a couple of bugs that you found after you've submitted it, you can get this day one patch ready to go, so that when people pop the game into their Switch, it just instantly updates to the small title update that you've put out, and then you've got these bug fixes that they were able to find after they sent it to Nintendo and began the manufacturing process of all these cartridges. So
yeah, and honestly, I think they showed us this game like probably 5 months earlier than they really wanted to, because they showed it for Pokemon Day and for no other reason. Because if you even look at the animations, Chimchar's animation was like very choppy, and there's no way they're releasing it like that.
Yeah, Chingling's animation was basically like here.
Yeah, that too.
It's very
very rough. This is a very early version.
The game, I guarantee you right now, is either like they either just passed their alpha, or their alpha is like next month.
Yeah, I would be surprised if they were done with their alpha at this point, because it's very early. You're talking about we're probably 14 months out, I would imagine.
Give or take, because they said early 2022. So realistically, the last day that you can ship a game and still have it classified as early 2020 or early whatever
April 30th, right?
End of April, exactly. Yeah. Because as soon as you get to May 1st, you're now in summer or mid whatever year.
Exactly. So, I'm expecting it 1 year after Pokemon new Snap.
Yeah, that would make sense. That realistically would make sense. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that we are very likely going to have another Pokemon Day before Legends Arceus releases. So we are going to get much more information, like basically a year from now in Pokemon Day 2022. We're probably going to get a way more in-depth trailer. Basically, I imagine the effort that they put into the Snap trailer for Pokemon Day this year, but a little bit more extensively, because it's a brand new. Yeah. It's a brand new game, or a brand new game, but also a brand new direction for the franchise. Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting a lot of information next year, Pokemon Day. And also another thing to keep in mind, making a game look pretty is one of the last things you care about.
For sure.
You care about functionality first before you care about making something pretty.
And that's what I was saying. Like, at this point in development, it looks stunning.
It looks amazing for where they are.
I can't believe how cohesively like everything looked. I mean, obviously the Pokemon animations aren't done, but a lot of the textures looked relatively polished for this point, and they did that for this presents undoubtedly, because they would not work on that right now. It's just not worth the effort, because that's something that just honestly it's like it's just not. It's something that can go the least wrong. There's so many things that can go wrong with the other aspects of development. The texturing of like wireframes and objects and stuff like that, it's difficult. You need to be incredibly skilled in order to do it well. But I mean, that's just not something that you're going to have like, a major glitch about generally.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, but that being said, I would say that like, and also just one more note, like, Pokemon's never been about graphics. It's never going to be about graphics. The graphics have always been a choice, an aesthetic to carry what Pokemon is. It is not, your Heavy Rain, which is just graphics and then a story with very little other, like anything else going on. That's not what this game is. You can't hold it to the same standards. That's not how it works. Just because the graphics exist doesn't mean you have to abide by those graphics. That's not how art works. That's just not how it works. But
yeah. And then like when it comes to, I'd also seen, and you had probably seen this too because you're very excited about new Snap. When we've got the first trailer for new Snap, there were a lot of people that were saying, you know, like, I dream for the day that a main series Pokemon game looks this good. And I'm just going to tell you right now.
Different.
I'm just going to tell you right now, that's not going to happen.
No.
And here's why, for a couple reasons. Number one, Pokemon Snap is a picture-taking game.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a game where basically the only thing that you do as a player is take a picture, you have so much more room to dump into your graphics. And because the game is a picture-taking game, they are going to spend like 90% of their resources in the graphics.
Yeah.
So it's like that's why Snap looks amazing, because if it was a picture-taking game and they made the graphics look horrible, but they were like, yo, but like, look at what this like insane, you know, like high-tech camera can do, people would be like, yeah, but I want it to look pretty because I'm taking pictures.
Yeah, there is also a secondary thing of, if you really think about it, Snap is more of a movie than a game, because you are on a single focal point. You're going in the center. Obviously, you can look all around 360 directions, but I can't all of a sudden run to the other side and look at things from the other side, because they have decided where I'm going to be. Well, actually, they could change this, but I don't think they will. I think it's going to be a track, like with the original Snap. And so these Pokemon, these models are on like basically a timeline. They're going to do the same thing all the time. If you played the original Snap, you can time out every event that's going to happen. Obviously, there's some randomization, I think, with like how the Laprases come up on the beach and stuff. But my point is that it's not the same as being able to freely run around, interact with things, push up against a tree like you can in the wild area. It's just a very different game. And like Rynot said, because of that, you can put so much more resources into graphics. And you also have to, because the idea here is taking the pictures. So
exactly.
It's just different, and I would say the focus of Snap is the graphics, where the focus of all the other Pokemon games is the gameplay. So it's an apples to oranges comparison. That being said, I think everything they've made except for the tree textures in the wild area has looked great. I really have no issues with it. A couple of weird animations in Sword and Shield, but honestly, that doesn't bother me, and I fear for people that it bothers that extensively.
Yeah, it's and like another thing is like the Switch only has so much processing power, and like any game console only has so much processing power. So basically, if you think of like the processing power as like a pie chart, you have a finite amount of processing power, which then translates into a finite amount of resources that you can allocate in your game to be able to, you know, process the graphics or process the animations or things along those lines. When it comes to Snap, you've got a very, very small percentage of that pie chart that is going into the functionality, because like you're on a track, it's very, very fixed. You go basically through a course, and you've got, you know, being able to take the pictures and all of that kind of a thing. The entire rest of that pie chart goes into making the game look pretty. And also there's very few things that would need collision in Snap, because you're not running around interacting with the world. And collision takes up a lot of memory. When you've got like Sword and Shield, for example, you've got only so much of that pie chart that can go into, you know, pushing the graphics to the extent that you want, because then you've got so many more Pokemon, especially with Sword and Shield. The amount of Pokemon that have or the amount of animations that every Pokemon has access to, you know, like every Pokemon can Dynamax. Every Pokemon, can use a bunch of different max moves. So there's so much more that the Pokemon need to be able to do, and there's so many more animations that each Pokemon has access to. All of that stuff takes up resources and memory. So,
not to mention, in order for them to be able to Dynamax, for you to make it that much bigger and not get pixelated, you need extremely high resolution models.
Yes.
And that's something that people don't understand also, that's extensively taxing on the system. So I think we're getting too technical now. we're gonna lose some interest. But so this is our longest episode ever. I'm not surprised. I knew it would be. because this is the biggest news we've gotten since we've been doing Labcast. I can't wait till we hear more about these titles. Like, I really can't. I think it's going to be a long while. I wouldn't expect any more information until the end of this year for Legends, and until the middle, like maybe August, September for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Maybe they'll throw us a bone somewhere in the middle of the year, but I'm not really expecting too much more info. I'm shocked that they showed us this early, realistically. This is the earliest that we've ever seen a launch for a Pokemon product by several months. Yeah,
it's the timeline between Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Pokemon Legends Arceus, depending on when they release Arceus, there's the potential for that to be the shortest time frame between two main series titles. Yeah. Because I do believe that Pokemon Legends Pokemon Legends Arceus, and then if they continue with that series, that's going to fall under the umbrella of main series games.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what Gen 9 looks like, because I don't think it's going to look anything like we thought it's going to.
Yeah, and also in terms of not just what it's going to look like, but when we're going to get it, because
no 2022 Gen 9 anymore.
Nobody was expecting Legends Arceus.
No.
So now the whole timeline that we had come to know with like main series game and then remake, that was already thrown off a little bit by the DLC.
Yeah.
But now that main series games are going the route of DLC versus third game, and now that we've got this new series of Pokemon Legends in there, we have no idea. Like, we can't really predict when we're going to get Gen 9. Also, it's like, are they going to continue Let's Go and give us Let's Go Johto?
That's what I was going to say. I think we might see a November 2022 Let's Go Johto developed by a different company. Maybe Ilka.
It's entirely possible.
I mean, if Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl really does well.
Yeah, or they could have just, released Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee as just like, a one-time, throwback to the Kanto region, and they have no plans of continuing it.
Very possible.
Also entirely possible.
Yeah.
We just don't know anymore.
Yeah, we could get a black and white remake in 2022, or we get something that we could never even dream of. It's exciting times. I'm really excited that the scope has been so dramatically changed. Mm-hmm. It's just unprecedented times in as a Pokemon fan. Very cool.
Yeah, it's really, really exciting. I'm excited to see what the Diamond and Pearl remakes continue to look like, what features of Platinum they decide to integrate, because we already saw that one NPC in the trailer in Aroma Town. Mm-hmm. That was only in Platinum, and that was the NPC that you need to bring a shaman to. And you get an item from that NPC. That I did not know. Yeah, they were shown in the trailer. It's the female NPC that's like 2 tiles over from the signpost in Aroma Town.
Please give us the ability to Shiny Hunt Shaman and Darkrai, please.
I'm really hoping that they go that route.
No chance of Arceus now that we have a game about Arceus coming out.
Yeah, I would be incredibly surprised, but I am excited to see what features of Platinum get introduced into these remakes, and then for them to show us continued development on Arceus. And just answer some more of these questions that we have in our heads right now. It's a really, really exciting year for Pokemon.
Yeah, I can't wait. All right, so that's going to be it for today. This episode is almost twice as long as a normal episode, but this is, like we said, exciting times. So thank you guys so much for watching. We will hope to see you back soon with the next episode, and we hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure you leave a comment about what you think about the announcements and what you're hoping for in these titles that we spoke about today. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.